there's actually been no cases of coercion or abuse in the 30 years that this law has been around in the United States. So we feel very good about the safeguards that are in place. And if there's any coercion, it's been the opposite way. It's been that people have wanted to use it and their family members have begged them not to, and then they haven't.
We all are gonna die. 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 Why don't we help each other prepare for it? Without death there could not be life. I'm talking about end of life conversations, conversations about the end of life. Death and dying, grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.
Hey, everybody, we want to interrupt this episode to ask for some help.
Yes, indeed. We would like to add value to our podcast for you, our beloved community, as we move into our third year.
How cool is that?
Being here.
30 years. Well,
3 years.
just starting our third year. We're very excited about that. So we really do. We want to add some value. And we'd love to have as many as possible of you go to our podcast notes and click on the link to take just a few minutes to do a survey for us and tell us what would make it more valuable for you. So we look forward to hearing from you.
And don't hesitate. Whatever is on your heart, there's a little space there that you can add your thoughts about what you'd like to hear more about. Maybe, even if it's books or music, whatever, just let us know, because we are here to in support of you, our listeners. So thank you so much. And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Thank you. Okay.
Welcome, friends. I am the Reverend Mother Ana Luisa Armendariz, and today we get to meet and speak with Mandi Zucker. Mandy has over 25 years of experience in the field of death, dying, and bereavement. Her original plan was to work with children, and she has a bachelor's degree in child development and care from the University of Pittsburgh. She then earned a master's in social work from New York University and accidentally fell into grief work when she was offered a per diem position at a hospice working in the children's bereavement program.
Wow, that's really important. Glad you're here to talk about that. I am Reverend Wakil David Matthews. So Mandy ended up working full-time in a hospice for 12 years and then became the program director at a Children's Bereavement Center. She began volunteering for End-of-Life Choices in New York in 2011 and really I've been working hard on that, and that's really part of the reason we wanted to have her join us today. And she's been executive director there for the past 3 years. In this role, she focuses on advocacy and education for people with terminal illness, expanding options and improving care for people at the end of their lives. Thank you so much for the work you do. Very, very important.
Yes, thank you for being here with us, Mandy.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'd like to start and just ask about your first experience with death in your own life.
So my first experience was my goldfish, Ira. I named all my goldfish after people at my dad's office. I don't know how that sort of happened, but Ira was one of his colleagues who is, we'll say, a larger man, and my goldfish, Ira, was also a larger goldfish. He got to the food the fastest. And one day I noticed him sort of sinking to the bottom of the fish tank, and all of the other fish started sort of pecking at him. And I was screaming at the goldfish and begging them to leave him alone. And, my dad came over and explained that Ira had died, and he wasn't able to swim anymore and wasn't going to be able to eat his little goldfish pellets. And I actually happened to have the chicken pox at the time, and I wasn't allowed outside, but my dad put Ira in a little Lord and Taylor wash box.
So cute.
I know. And we buried him outside. I stood in the kitchen looking out the window, and my dad and my sister went outside and placed him in the ground. I'm Jewish, so I didn't know a lot about funerals, but I thought we were supposed to say something. Like I felt like there's supposed to be a ritual. So I was like screaming through the window, say the Shema, which was like the only prayer I like memorized at that point. So they did that for me. And yeah, it was sort of like a moving, experience. And I was very grateful that my parents understood the importance of ritual
Yeah.
around death and dying.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that it was so instinctual for you that something had to be said, I think that's phenomenal,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And the Shema's
I was a very
makes
wise
sense. Yeah.
8-year-old.
Yeah, that's great. And I also love that, we've talked a lot about ritual here and just that, that you went through the process and you thought, okay, this is part of this. This is what I need to have happen. And it wasn't just like, yeah, flush it down the toilet or whatever,
Right.
Yeah, and that happens a
That
lot.
kind
I'm
of
always surprised when people tell me that. I'm like, that's just wrong.
I
burial
know.
at sea.
Well, that is that's a beautiful story about Ira.
Thank you. Yeah.
I am very
Thank you.
honored to hear this story, bear witness to Ira's passing. And after Ira passed and you had this experience, how has death impacted the continuing years of your life?
It's a really interesting question. I didn't really think about death and dying much after that. I thought I wanted to work with children, and I didn't take a death and dying class in graduate school. I thought death and dying happens to old people. It didn't cross my mind even that young people could be affected by an old person's death.
Right.
Forget about the fact that young people also die. So it sort of found me. And when I was asked to run this children's bereavement program, I knew nothing about bereavement, but it really changed the course of my career and my life, because I found finally an opportunity to connect to people on such an intimate level, even if it was for short periods of time. I ended up working in hospice for 12 years. So oftentimes we would only work with families for very short periods of
Right.
time, but they were so incredibly grateful. And there's this immediate connection that you make with people when you're talking about, some of the most painful parts of their lives.
Sure.
And I found it to be incredibly rewarding and actually life affirming to work in this space. So
Yeah. So appreciate that. And I think I'd really thinking about what that's been like, what your life has been like, and especially that work with children. Can you tell us more about, your work that you're doing now, and more about that? I think our audience would really appreciate learning more about what it's like working with children, and working for people who've lost children, for that matter. Yeah.
so my current work really doesn't focus a lot
Yeah.
on children. It is mostly about people with terminal disease. Unfortunately, most children don't end up with terminal diseases. But before that, I worked in a children's bereavement center. So we supported children who had, either parents or grandparents or siblings that had died, in a peer support kind of model. So not therapy or counseling, but normalizing that this is, a human experience. And really for me, like that's what's been so powerful. So if I'm working with the children, if I was working with adults, knowing that we all are going to die, and in some ways we have some control over that, and helping to empower people to take control over their deaths has been incredibly rewarding. I think we plan our high school graduations more than we plan our own deaths.
Right.
That's right.
And it's such a huge transition in our own lives, and probably even more so for the people that are left behind. And we really don't put a lot of planning into that. And that has been incredibly rewarding to be able to help people to do that.
Great. Yeah.
That is really interesting. Can you go back to that? You said that you did peer
Yeah.
peer support with the kids, and you said it's not therapy, it's peer support. Can you just give us a distinction between
Yeah,
those?
what's that?
Because that is really interesting to
What's
me.
that look like?
Yeah. So I always say it's therapeutic.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
not therapy because it's not run by, I happen to be a social worker, and we would mostly train volunteers to run our peer support programs, but they were not therapists or our goal was really to put kids or their parents in a room with other people who are going through similar things and validate for them what that experience was like. So we weren't really working individually with anybody. We weren't trying to fix anything. We were trying to get people to understand that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so powerful when you're dealing with, dying and grief in general.
Yeah.
That's right. So I really do appreciate that. And especially if, families have kind of entered into this realm where kids may need some support and a therapist or a counselor may not seem appropriate because it also puts like kids like in this like hot seat.
Right.
But a peer support, it has other people bearing witness to
Yeah.
what you have just encountered, right? So I think that is actually very therapeutic. I agree
Yeah,
with
yeah,
like
yeah.
that word. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it also applies to terminal illness, as what you're doing more of now. My wife has terminal illness as we speak, but she's doing really well. But she has really, it took her a while to decide to get connected to to organizations like that. But it's been a really big help for her to just talk to people who are going through the same thing and really kind of compare notes, and just again, like I'm not the only one dealing with this right now. So that's really important.
That's right.
Yeah. And for caregivers.
We host at End of Life Choices New York. We host these events. We call them legacy leagues. Some people may have heard of like death cafes, and they're just opportunities to get together and talk to people about anything related to death and dying. And it's not therapy. It's just normalizing conversations. And I think that is so powerful.
Yeah.
So,
It is. I really think that that's kind of one of the missing components of our human grind.
In this culture.
Because yes, in this culture, especially because people, don't want to talk about the hard things that they've just encountered. It's shameful that you're struggling. And then if you're brave enough to actually say the thing, you're met with this glazed over look like, oh, I don't know what to say. This is scary. I don't want to mess this up. But, the reality is like, we do need to be seen in other people's, eyes and hearts and breaths, right? Like, so going through a death event, it helps to be in community.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And be met. So anyhow, I think it's very lovely. I really appreciate knowing more about that.
And the whole language around it, that we're fighting, and that we've lost, if we go to hospice, like you're talking about, hospice is often, I think the statistics is only the last 2 weeks that people show up and they could have been in hospice and had that kind of care for 6 months,
That's right.
or more.
That's right.
And it's because of that stigma that we're giving up if when we die, or if we lost the fight, and I think that language is, again, what we're working on, trying to change the conversation.
That's right. So, but right now you are working in New York, right? For the End of Life.
End of Life Choices New York. Yep.
That's right. So tell us about the challenges that you're met there. What's going on?
Yeah. I'll say challenges and opportunities.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. I like it.
Lots of opportunity right now. So we're really the only state-specific organization in New York working to expand options and improve quality of life for people facing terminal illness. So we do a lot of advocacy work and education and support for families when they are facing some of the most difficult times in their lives. Our focus really for the past 10 years, we actually initiated the medical aid in dying bill in New York about 10 years ago. I don't know how familiar all of your audience is with medical aid in dying, but it's legal in 11 states and Washington, D.C. It's an option to hasten your death if you have a terminal diagnosis with 6 months or less to live, and you can self-ingest medication that would hasten your death if you are mentally competent and able to do so. So we initiated that bill about 10 years ago, and we've been working on it since. This year, we have finally passed it through both the Assembly and the Senate, and we are now waiting for Governor Hochul to sign it into law. So quite, I'm going to say, an opportunity at the moment, as we're waiting for her to sign. And we've been really working hard on, because we do expect her to sign it. So we've been working, most of our efforts have really been on what we're going to do to implement that bill once she signs it. So in states right next door, New Jersey has this option, and only 50% of New Jerseyans know that it even exists.
Wow.
That's right.
So we don't want that in New York. We want people to know that it's available to them, and we want them to be able to access doctors and pharmacies and hospices and all of the things that you need to make sure you have a good death. So we're working on that right now.
Yeah.
That's and it would be interesting to connect with all those folks working in different states, because I bet you all their stories and trajectories through the communities have been very different.
Well, it's interesting because we would have loved to have been the first state to implement it. But now that there's been 30 years, we're really benefiting from all of the other states that have done it. And, we know exactly, we're in a lot of contact with a lot of other states that have it. So we've learned a
There's
lot.
something to be said for not being the very first one to try it.
We like to think of ourselves as progressive and innovative, but it's fine. We're here now.
Oh, that's
What
great.
kind of pushback have you gotten? What's been the hardest thing to get past as far as dealing with that? With people not wanting to participate or not thinking it's a good idea.
Yeah. So it's interesting because no one has to participate.
Yeah,
So, it's just an option. We're not trying to
Right.
force anybody to do it or not do it. We just want the option available. As far as like opposition goes, the Catholic Church is our biggest opposition. Not Catholics. Catholics actually support this bill 2-1.
Yeah.
But the church itself has been, our biggest opposition, and they are certainly lobbying the governor not to sign, who is Catholic, but we know that she has supported choice and autonomy for our own bodies, despite, I have no idea what her own personal beliefs are, but she seems to be very good at separating, her own religious beliefs from her political.
That's really good. Yeah, and that brings up a point we've run into before, and it's important for our audience to understand too. Is if MAID is an option where you live, or some places you can move to, but if there's something you're interested in, doctors usually, in most cases, have to sign off on it, and you should ask your doctor if they're willing to do that, because some medical institutions are owned by the Catholic Church, and they're no longer, and they're not able to do it. So it's important to check on that too. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll say, I said we benefited from all of the other states. One of the things that's different about the New York law is that there is no residency requirement. So in most other states, there is a residency requirement. There's been a few states that no longer have one, but we would be the first to implement a bill without a residency requirement. So not only will it help New Yorkers, but it will help other people who, unfortunately can't die in their own home.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's hard, but
That's right.
it will be available.
Yeah. Right. Very important.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot. Like I appreciate the work. I remember when Colorado passed it, I went to all the meetings and learned a lot, and I was really excited by it. And then in the interim years that I heard all these other voices who were really concerned about this choice. And, I want to say that it's great to have a choice.
Right.
Like nobody has to do anything, and your personal beliefs around this is your personal beliefs. And so I just want to say that out loud too, because I think there's such a fear that, somebody's going to come and tell me to, that I got to die.
Right.
And it's like, actually, no,
gonna
like
happen.
you have to
No.
decide for yourself.
Yeah. That's always.
We know that there's actually been no cases of coercion or abuse in the 30 years that this law has been around in the United States. So we feel very good about the safeguards that are in place.
Good,
And
yeah.
if there's any coercion, it's been the opposite way. It's been that people have wanted to use it and their family members have
don't
begged
want
them
them.
not to,
Yeah.
and then they haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And then
has
they've,
happened. Yeah.
sometimes
Exactly.
suffered.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one that we've heard about that I think is also important is that some of these states that do have residence requirements have worked, like Oregon and I think Colorado, have worked to create spaces where people could come, like a special Airbnbs, right? Where people can come and be accepted and be allowed to do this there, and then have a 24-hour residency. So
it is my dream. I mean, once we could get this law enacted and accessible, that is actually like my ultimate dream, is to have a home for people to be able to come, not just for out-of-staters, but for people
Yeah.
who don't have a home
Mhm.
or don't want to die in their own home. And
Mhm.
for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I want a cozy little house where people
Yeah.
can, I keep
We've
saying
talked.
like, I want them to be able to play Rummy Cube and
Yeah.
some board
Yeah,
games
yeah.
and watch a good movie.
That's great.
There's a nonprofit hospice place in California whom we just met. Oh, there's two of them, but one of them, that's they use their patients aren't using MAID, but they are really quickly, they're able to go there to die.
Yeah.
And she said the same thing. She was just like, it's just homey. It's just like,
Uh-huh.
there's just people around. They're singing. There's like, it's got a nice garden. Like I was like,
Yeah,
aw.
yeah. They
Yep.
help design
Yep.
ritual, and yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really lovely.
I love that.
I pray your dream come
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And when it does,
Thank
call
you.
us up. We'll have you back on the
I will.
talk
Yeah.
about it again.
Excellent. Pray for a bunch of money, because New York's real estate is quite
Oh my God,
expensive.
it is.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. All right, where are we? Does anything frighten you about end of life, or anything that you would like people to know about, as far as that's concerned, about what might frighten them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not frightened to die. And I think part of that is because I've been around death, professionally and personally. So my dad died 22 years ago, and I believe in some sort of an afterlife. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I miss him every day, and I just can't wait. I mean, I will wait. I can wait to see him, but I look forward to seeing him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So so that part doesn't scare me. I think but I have young adult children. I am scared to not be part of their lives,
Yeah.
to see them. I worked so hard to get them to young adulthood, and now I think I deserve to see the fruits of my labor. So the thought that I wouldn't be here to watch them actually, form into the adults that I was hoping that they would be,
Yeah.
like that's scary for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But otherwise, I'm not scared of the death part.
Yeah.
I want to live.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've heard that. I love that perspective, and we've heard that,
Yep.
and we've also heard similarly, like, what am I really done? Have I done everything I need to have done?
Yeah.
Right.
But
Well, the
Mhm.
project,
that's kind of
this
the
is the
truth.
the kids are the
yes,
project.
I was gonna say the same thing with your
Yeah.
kids. Is my job
Yeah.
done with them yet? I want to watch it. I want to see
Yeah.
it complete.
Yes,
Well,
right.
So as you've been doing this big lift with the changing of the law in New York, on those days when you find yourself just tired and, like, what is going on? How do you take care of yourself? What do you do to resource your mind, body, and spirit?
I'm a big believer in vacations. So I actually take a vacation every day. And I
Oh,
started doing, I
ooh.
know,
Yeah.
sounds fancy, but I actually started doing this during COVID when we couldn't go anywhere. And several of my like actual vacations were canceled. I decided I needed to like leave, I need to get out. And I take a vacation every day. I might be walking my dog, or maybe I'm in the shower and I smell the shampoo, and I close my eyes and I am on vacation. If I feel the wind or the sun on my face, I imagine where I am, and it could be 30 seconds. Sometimes I'll
Ugh.
take several 30-second vacations every
Yeah.
day. But for me, it's so important to just like, be mindful about, like, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about whatever other things are stressing me. And I really try to be, very grateful for the sun,
Yeah.
the, whatever it
I
is.
love that.
So,
Yeah.
I really appreciate
Yeah.
that because, I talk to some clients about, active imagination. Your mind doesn't actually know that it's just your imagination. It's actually experiencing the dream, whatever that you're saying.
Mhm.
So you really do take
Yeah.
I
vacations every day.
do.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Now, that's not, if my husband's listening, that's not to say that I don't want him to take me on an actual
That's right.
vacation.
That's it.
But,
right.
It's important. That's very
but
important.
This is just resourcing yourself so that when you get to the actual one, you're not like haggard and
Right,
exhausted
yeah.
and like,
And
exactly.
more tired when you get back.
That's right.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I've heard that called like a mini Shabbat or mini Sabbath.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
you can put those in anywhere. So that's
yeah.
important. Thank you. That's a really really
Mhm.
good advice for all of us.
All of
Good.
us.
Take a break. Great. Well, thank
Yep.
you. I really appreciate everything that you've shared with us. Is there
Of
anything you wish
course.
we had asked that we didn't get around to?
Um, well, I would just say, as far as like, our medical aid and dying bill, like we need all of the support we can get right
Yeah.
now. The governor has until the end of the year to sign this bill, but if you have people, especially in New York, that are listening, they can go onto our website, which I think you have,
Yeah.
and there's a link on there to reach out to the governor. There's a sample script. You can send it to her. But that's really important right now before we get this bill over the finish
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. And then what can they do
Okay.
to help afterward? Is there anything that?
They can contact us. Yes.
Yeah.
And they don't need to wait until afterwards because, like I said, we're already working on implementation.
Great.
So we have a committee that meets at least once a month, working on all of the things involved. And it's quite an endeavor. New York is not, a tiny little
Right.
state. There's a lot of people,
Yeah.
a lot of doctors, a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
So they should reach out to us if they're interested in supporting this mission, in learning more about it,
hmm
anything that they need.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
huge state. I'm always blown away how big New York is when I'm visiting there. I have a brother who lives in upstate New York, and I remember going out to New York City and thinking, "Oh, I should go visit my brother." And I look it up; it's like 6 hour drive. Maybe
Yep.
not.
Yep.
Yeah, so
It is a very diverse
but yeah, that's what I was
area.
going to say.
Yeah.
That also points to how diverse it is, and how
Mhm.
people from different parts of the state probably have different uh, specific things they would need to know about, or ways they would approach this. So yeah,
Yeah.
very good, very good. Thank you again so much. You had sent us a poem.
It's called Don't Panic, It's Okay by Karen Boudreau. If you are faced with a decision that you're not ready for, it's okay. I'll try to let you know what I would want for various circumstances, but if you come to something we haven't anticipated, it's okay. And if you come to a decision point and what you decide results in my death, it's okay. You don't need to worry that you've caused my death. You haven't. I will die because of my illness or my body failing or whatever. You don't need to feel responsible. Forgiveness is not required. But if you feel bad, responsible, guilty, first of all, don't. And second of all, you are loved and forgiven. If you're faced with a snap decision, don't panic. Choose comfort, choose home, choose less intervention. Choose to be together at my side, holding my hand, singing, laughing, loving, celebrating, and carrying on. I will keep loving you and watching you and being proud of you.
Wow, I love that.
That is so good.
I love that too.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. That choose
Yep.
comfort, choose home, choose less
Yeah.
Choose
intervention. Yeah,
home.
choose to be together
Yeah.
at my side, holding
Mhm.
my hand, singing, laughing, loving, celebrating, and carrying on. I will keep loving you and watching you and being proud of you. What a great message. What an incredibly sweet
Yeah,
message.
It's an
it feels
amazing.
like a love letter.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it feels like a love letter to my children,
Yeah.
like, and my husband. Like, I just, what a gift for them and, for all of our family members to know what we want
Yeah.
and for them not to have to panic. So many families panic
Right.
because they don't know what their person would
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And it's really like our final gift we can give
Yep.
them.
It is a final gift, and we talk about advanced care directive plans all the time,
Great.
and we're always encouraging people to have conversations with somebody else and everything. But let's just imagine a situation, and there's many, and they haven't planned. But if they've heard this poem, and they're going to be like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I have to figure this out really quick, but choose comfort, choose home,
Yeah.
choose less intervention,
Yeah.
right? Choose to be
Yep.
together,
Yeah.
hold hands, sing, laugh, love,
You could
celebrate,
just
you know,
use
like,
this as an advanced care directive.
that's right. That's what I want.
It's not my advanced care plan, but it basically
Yeah.
is. And every
Yeah.
once in a while, I just post this poem on my Facebook page
Perfect.
because I just want everybody in my life to like remember that.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's, and I'm healthy. So, if I get
Yeah.
the flu and there's an antibiotic, give it to me. I want that. But if I am in a place or in a space that, my recovery is not guaranteed anymore, that's what I want.
That's
I
right.
don't want to be kept alive.
Yeah.
And I like exactly that point, is like, choose comfort, so if the loved one has to ask a question of a medical personnel, like, how uncomfortable might this procedure be now and later? And if, they hear like it's a pretty hard one, then, my mom would
She wants
definitely not want that. She wants comfort. Let's do comfort care now.
Yeah.
Morphine drip and
absolutely.
sweet music. Let's do it.
I'm all in.
Yeah. So, this is really great. What a gem.
Yeah. Another wonderful time. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Mandy. We really
Excellent.
appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
blessings on this journey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having
All
me.
right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Please stick around after the credits for our afterthoughts, and it helps our numbers if you stay until the end. We want to thank my children, Nate, Vivian, Nina, and her fiance Asher, for the excellent opening song, and a special thanks to our awesome editor, Sam Zemke, who is also a guest on our podcast. You can listen to him on Season 4, Episode 5. Also, thank you to Charles Heaston, the composer of the original music you are listening to now.
And of course, thanks to you, our audience, and all of our amazing guests. Please come back next week for another great episode. Share this with your friends, family, and community. We hope you will subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. Each guest's additional information will be found in the podcast notes. And of course, if you have a good end-of-life story to share, please reach out. We are always eager to hear from you.
Okay.
I'm just blown away. Humans, man, they do.
They do.
They really do show up for each other, even when I don't feel like people are showing up. Like, there's folks.
We are really blessed. Well, one of the blessings of this work is that we're self-selecting people that are doing the work and are in our little community of death positive people, which is wonderful. And wow, it's just so inspiring every time. I love that poem. It's like it really is like you could almost call it my advanced care directive poem.
I think I'm gonna print it up and just put it on the fridge.
Yeah, it sounds good.
And just be like, in case there is a moment of panic, which I doubt, but if there is,
Thank you so much again. I love doing this with you, and I love the people we meet. We're so blessed.
I know.
And
we are so blessed.
adios. Take care.
Adios. Ciao.